mad that he broke the rules, he's going to go and break the rules again. Because that's the only thing that's keeping him to the rules, is a sense of responsibility to the rules. And so that's why many of us struggle with sin. We sin, we repent, oh, I'm so sorry, I broke the rules, and then we get up and we sin, same thing, again and again, same traps we fall into, again and again and again. And you know what's missing? We do not realize that we are breaking a relationship and grieving the one we love. Because if Brent realizes that he is hurting me and that his words wounded me, and it was as though he took a knife and plunged it into my spirit.
Is depravity increasing in our day and age? And Jesus goes on to say, there's an eighth sign to know that we are at the beginning of the end. And that eighth sign...
essential personnel. So that could be lower level military people.
Also embassy people.
Yes.
Being pulled out
of Baghdad.
Yeah.
So all of this, is it just theater to try to add pressure to Iran? Or is all of this signaling to us that something dire is going to happen?
Well, here's part of the problem for quote-unquote negotiations. And you have the same situation in Gaza. In both Gaza and Iran, you have religious radicals and zealots in charge.
Yeah.
Okay? In both of those areas, they want the destruction of Israel. Mm-hmm. This is why the West has said Iran can't get nuclear weapons, because they have talked about destroying the little Satan, Israel, and the great Satan, the United States. So it's not like they're just angry at Israel. They intend to obliterate them. And so that's why the West, that's why the United States has said Iran can't be allowed to get nuclear weapons. So the reason I think that the negotiations are not going well with Iran is because the mullahs who are in charge are saying, no, we are going to get nuclear weapons. If you want to make a deal, pick something else, but we're getting nuclear weapons. And when those negotiations go south, because all indications are Iran is getting very close to having the capability to produce nuclear weapons, the U.S. and or Israel are going to attack. Iran knows that. They might strike first.
Yeah. Is an indication that we're getting close. Who knows? A week, 2, 3 from a confrontation, an armed confrontation between the United States and Iran. That's what it appears. Now, this is one of the moments in a presidency that defines it. Seems to me, potentially, at least. Because President Trump has said, as has Benjamin Netanyahu, right, and others, Prime Minister of Iran will not be allowed to. That's the language they use.
Right.
May have a nuclear weapon. Well, what if Iran is saying, stop us? Oh yeah, stop us.
Yeah.
That's where we are?
Yes.
Huh? And so it would be President Trump that would have to initiate a military attack on Iran to destroy their nuclear weapons, wherever they are, however they may be. Who knows? Well, I guess we know. The United States.
Well, it's in the nuclear research facilities.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. This is somebody bluffing? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's why I said it's the same situation in Gaza as it is in Iran.
Well, Gaza doesn't have a nuclear weapon.
Well, no, but I'm talking about the fact that they're run by religious zealots. There's no need to bluff if you think Allah is on your side and is going to give you victory, because you're going to get that nuclear weapon because Allah wills it, and with his help, you're going to eliminate both Israel and the United States. I guess that's what I'm talking about, is that religious zealotry.
Yeah.
I don't think they're bluffing. That's what I'm saying.
Representative Scott Perry of Pennsylvania was on Washington Watch yesterday. I do not have the sound. But he was talking with Tony Perkins about how some people are like, well, Iran, it's also interested in just nuclear energy research. They want to be able to power their country like us and some other countries, whatever else. And Congressman Perry went on to say that it is very clear Iran is only interested in an only weapons nuclear research program, and therefore President Trump and others have a right to be concerned.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We've reached an impasse. Seems to me like clearly that. So whatever's going to happen in the next 3 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, because it appears that. By the way, I said President Trump commented on this. Do we have that clip?
We do not. We were looking for it prior to the show.
Well, did he? Am I wrong about that? Somebody said at our show meeting that he said.
I read it. I have not heard it.
That he said we'll see. When asked about it.
And in fact, I think he said you'll see.
You'll see. Talking to a reporter?
Yeah, and
we asked why are all these U.S. Military personnel being moved, and
yes.
he needs to respond, and he said, "You'll see."
That is what the way I recall what I read.
Okay.
That's something you really should say. No comment.
I'm saying a we'll see if the Insurrection Act needed amid protests in Los Angeles.
That's not.
That's not the same thing.
So I can. We cannot confirm nor deny.
Yeah, I got it. Here
We can't confirm.
This is from ABC, so take it for what you want. Thank you very much. Trump confirms U.S. personnel are being removed from parts of the Middle East. There is a quote in here from our chief executive, Donald J. Trump, who says, well, they are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. But they are. We're given notice to move out. We'll see what happens. And I think probably what you saw may have been a snippet of that headline. Yeah, as his commentary.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess so.
I mean, that's not what I recall, but I don't want to sound like a politician. I do not recall.
I don't recall.
I'd vote for you.
All right, let's go ahead and take our break early here.
Let's go to the bunker.
Yeah. Wow.
One of these days, it's just going to be me and Brent on a remote AM signal on a random Tuesday afternoon.
Playing the Carpenters.
Yeah.
Like
rainy days and mushroom clouds.
All right, we'll see if we can round up some happy news for the next half hour, ladies and gentlemen.
We do have Pastor Joseph Parker coming in.
Do we? Okay.
Talking about the Ten Commandments.
You're going to talk about the Ten
Hear that,
Commandments?
Ron? Thou shalt not kill.
And how to...
Should covet your neighbor's stuff.
Yeah, including nuclear weapons.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't want to covet nuclear weapons.
Did you just say nuclear?
I did. That's
George W.
That's a southern way of saying nuclear. We shall take a break right here. We'll be back momentarily.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildman.
Centuries ago, a man wrote, I keep working toward that goal. He had not arrived, yet he continued to work at arriving. This man knew a great truth of life, a truth which kept him working at the task. Paul knew that the thrill of life is in trying. Success in life often brings satisfaction, but the thrill which life offers is in trying to be successful. The thrill of life comes not from achieving our goal, but in the attempt to achieve it. The thrill is in trying. Our goals in life should always be a little beyond our reach. This keeps us trying. As long as we have a goal in front of us, just a little beyond our reach, we have something to work toward. This makes life worth living. You know, life would be meaningless for me unless I had a goal that was a little beyond my reach. Back when I first started writing, I couldn't even give my work away. I approached many publishers with a manuscript for my first book, and I'm sure not a few of them had a good laugh about it. But I wanted to write, and regardless of what others had to say, I continued to try. Now, since that first effort, I've been able to accomplish some rather, for myself at least, good goals. But for me, the thrill is not so much in accomplishing the goal, as it is in trying to accomplish that goal. Each time I nearly reach a goal I've set for myself, I push it just a little bit higher because the thrill is in trying. We should never let the fear of failing keep us from experiencing the thrill of trying. We should never cease to try to go higher and farther because of fear we will not make it. We will be richer simply because we tried. And also, whether we make it or not, we can experience the thrill which comes from trying. Perhaps you wanted to do some things but have not attempted them because you were fearful you could not accomplish them. Well, attempt them. Go at them with the best you have. Do not be afraid because you might fail. Make an effort. You will be richly rewarded, and you will also receive the thrill that comes in trying. The thrill of following the carpenter from Galilee is in trying. You know, when you are a Christian, you're always working toward a goal which you know you will never reach. But there is a tremendous thrill in trying to reach that goal. God is continually calling us to be a little bit better, a little bit bigger than we are. Like Paul, we never arrive, but we keep working toward that goal. The man of Galilee himself experienced the thrill of trying. The odds against his accomplishing what he attempted to accomplish in the manner in which he attempted it were infinitely great, but he was willing to try. The thrill, I say again, the thrill is in trying. Ask and you will receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Our fondest dreams, the dreams God has planted in our heart, can come true. And the thrill of life is in trying to make them come true.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildman, a production of the American Family Association.
In him we were also chosen as God's own, having been predestined according to the plan of him who works out everything by the counsel of his will, in order that we, who were the first to hope in Christ, would be for the praise of his glory. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 11 and 12.
American Family Radio. This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Countdown to Nuclear War is what we've been focusing on for the first half hour of this program. And
we're at DEFCON -1.
-1?
Yeah, it's worse than...
Can you go?
Yeah.
All right, so it is a very serious, volatile situation. To make light of it, President Trump, to repeat the top story, U.S. military personnel, families are being, essential employees only are being left on bases in the Middle East because President Trump says we'll see what happens. That was his comment, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And so it's the negotiations between Iran and the United States such that they were to get Iran to stop making, how you say it, Ed?
Stop. I'm
nuclear.
not sure. Nuclear.
Nuclear. Why is it I can't say that?
I don't know.
Fred, can you say it? Say it.
Nuclear.
Okay. Well, you're a newsman, a veteran newsman. So anyway, it's a very serious situation. And as you said, we need to pray for President Trump and in this situation. But it seems to be coming to a head, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does seem to be coming to a head, and it's one of those things where there is no real room for compromise. The West and Israel, including Israel, has said Iran will not be allowed to have nuclear weapons. The mullahs in charge of Iran have said, yes, we will. And they're trying to, perhaps have some negotiations, but it does not seem, it seems to be falling apart because I think this is an intractable, unsolvable problem. Someone's going to win it, someone's going to lose on this.
Apparently,
the other ingredient in this story is that, and I think that's why President Trump made the comment he did the other day about talks are not going well. There is a belief that Iran was trying to extend the talks. Well, it is moving towards uranium level nuclear weapons. So I think Trump was believing, and his security people were believing, that Iran was just stalling to give it time to either full-blown nuclear weapon.
How do we know they don't have them now?
Well, we don't. And the other factor is that it's believed that Iran keeps pushing these weapons down deeper and deeper to avoid being destroyed by any, whether it's Israel attacking or the United States.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm quoting President Trump. Well, let's see what happens. See what happens out there. But President Trump did use the word dangerous situation, didn't he?
I believe so. I'll dig
You
it.
know what you quoted a few minutes ago? All right, so that's we got some other news and stories to cover, but on a good note, we have Pastor Joseph Parker here. He's host of Hour of Intercession, heard weekdays at 3 in the morning Central Time on American Family Radio. Good morning.
Morning, Tim.
Joe?
Good to be with you all today.
Pastor Joseph Parker. How long have you been hosting that show?
12 years now.
12 years, but not daily, right?
Monday through Friday.
No, but not daily the whole time. It seems like it started out as a weekly, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But you're not going to tell your boss you're wrong, right?
That's right.
That's
right.
Yes, sir. That's right. I know. We've got something going on called the Ten Commandments Project. Talk about that.
Right. We've had this project going on for several years now, and I think it gets more exciting with every passing year. It's a youth discipleship project, and one aspect of it is very simply, if a young person memorizes the Ten Commandments and recites them to their dad or mom can call us, give us their size and mailing address, and we'll mail them a free Ten Commandments t-shirt. Specifically, during the month of June, we're having the part of the project that's called the Ten Commandments Speech Challenge. It's where a young person will put together a speech based on the commandment for the year. This year, it's the first commandment: you shall have no other gods before me. And we're inviting young people basically to write a speech, and they're welcome to get help from dad or mom if they need to. 3 to 5 minutes is the suggested length. Record it and send it to us. Either email it to faq@afa.net or jparker@afa.net, and put in the 4-column 10 Commandments Project Speech Challenge. And I think last year we ended up with about 57 speeches. And it's been an exciting discipleship project from this standpoint. It's helping young people plant the Word of God in their minds and their hearts, but also teaching them how to take truth, ingest it, and share it with others. And so we're looking forward to the speeches. They've already started pouring in. And so, as I said, it gets more exciting every year. And if for those that participate, they'll get a free Ten Commandments t-shirt, a bookmark, and a free shipping coupon code to use in the AFA Resource Center.
Ed?
Yeah, I love this project, and you, every year after it's finished, will take some of the best and put a collection of those together. We get to watch those in our in AFA devotions, so the staff gets to see these as well. But I'm always blown away by the capacity, the ability of these young people, and they're not all teenagers. Some of them are what I would say little kids,
Small children.
and they love God's word. They love God, and that comes out in these videos. And they're the ones who have to create the wording as they speak. I don't want to say in defense of one of the commandments, in explanation of what the commandment means and how it applies. And these young people, some of them are going to make a good preacher. And it's almost like raising up a generation of young people, whether they officially become members of the clergy or not. As you said, Joseph, they are going to develop an awareness of how to explain the scriptures to their community.
Very much so. And, I think of this too, this is true. The Ten Commandments are found in their entirety in Exodus and Deuteronomy. And they're the moral law of God. And it's so important for us to understand it's the basics of our faith. And some people make the big mistake of saying, well, that's Old Testament, they're old-fashioned. The moral law of God never changes. And the biggest problems in our society and in the news are a result of people violating the wisdom behind the Ten Commandments. So knowing them and learning them and living by them is a very wise thing on our part as believers, obviously. So it's a great curriculum God has given us. Basic truth.
Give that information. Tell it again. Maybe there are people going, I didn't write that down. What are we asking for now?
We're asking them just to write they record it with their cell phone or any other means that
they're video of them reading their speech. And what's the speech about?
It's on the first commandment, you shall have no other gods before me, and we suggest 3 to 5 minutes. And again, ages 7 to 17 is the age range, and all of the speeches every year, to be quite honest, are good. They're really good.
Do we post those?
Sometimes we'll post them on our social media, but also like for example, at the Activate conference, we're actually going to share a montage of some of the speeches with some of the young people. Yeah. And one of our goals is to inviting young people to share truth. See, like one of the things that we do is we encourage each young person to also ask your pastor if he'll let you share it on Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, a minimal number of them actually do that for different reasons. But like, for example, a little girl in the church that I pastor, she sent me her speech this morning. She's just turned 7. Powerful little speech. I fully intend to let her share her speech this coming Sunday morning. Yeah. And so it's inviting them to learn to share truth in their
Give us an example of what a speech might say. We're talking to Pastor Joseph Parker. It's called the Ten Commandments Project. We do it every year here at AFA and AFR. Joe hosts the Hour of Intercession, heard overnight, 3 a.m. in the morning on American Family Radio weekdays. So how to contact you, and what would you talking about a 3 to 5 minute speech about the first commandment of the 10?
Sharing the first commandment.
That's the challenge this year
for me, right?
And everybody who participates gets
free T-shirt, and they get
Ten Commandments trophy,
and they also get a coupon to use in the AFA Resource Center.
How do they contact you?
Well, again, you can email us at faq@afa.net or jparker@afa.net, either one.
Or they can go to afr.net/10 Commandments.
Exactly.
Because then they can find out more information about this particular 10 Commandments speech challenge.
I also posted a link to the topic you guys are discussing on our Today's Issues Facebook page.
All right.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
I just want to just say, Tim, that this is a lot of times people, if they listen to AFR, they may think, well, all they do is talk about politics. But we don't. We have preaching programs. We have Truth for Youth Bible Week coming up in August. There's all sorts of ways in which AFA and AFR promote the Word of God and sound biblical teaching. And this is another way of reaching out to young people to get them acclimated to not only reading the Scripture, but bearing witness to it.
And I
extraordinary.
I think, too, this is a great opportunity for parents to make sure that their kids know what the Ten Commandments are, because, praise God, we have several states now that are requiring a copy of the Ten Commandments be on display in even public school classrooms. And then, of course, Christian schools teach this, too. Sunday schools go over the material. But this is an effort to make sure that you, parent, your child knows what the Ten Commandments are. And it's an opportunity for you to do some Bible study with them. And then, we all need to read the Bible more. Even our pastors need to study our Bibles more. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity. And again, I did post that on our Facebook page. AFN has covered these kinds of things in the past with Joseph. So stay tuned to AFN at the top of every hour on AFR, because we do oftentimes do stories on these kinds of projects.
Hey, I wanted to get to Los Angeles. We talked yesterday about how, what was it, all this, we talked about the AT&T data breach.
Yeah.
Affecting millions and millions of people. And I was reading another story. It's getting to where you don't even want to touch anything that has technology to it. This is today on Fox News. I'm just going to read it like it is. The story says, everything that connects to the internet can be hacked by malware. This includes your phones and laptops, devices like your Wi-Fi router. Security cameras aren't safe either. But who would have thought that hackers are now targeting your smart TVs, streaming boxes, projectors, and tablets too? That's right. The FBI warns that bad actors have hijacked over 1 million of these devices with malware, turning them into unwitting participants in a global cyber crime network.
What are they doing with the television?
The FBI is warning that more than a million smart TVs, streaming boxes, projectors, and tablets have been infected by a massive malware operation called Bad Box 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what Bad Box is, but evidently it's some kind
that's the malware. Sounds like.
Okay. Well, the malware turns home electronics into participants in a global network of crime, cybercrime, often before the user even powers them on. It's pre-installed malware from a Chinese
again. Huh?
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
What other thing that in the statement, the FBI says Bad Box 2.0 is commonly found on cheap Android-based devices manufactured in mainland China. These include uncertified tablets, connected TV boxes, and others. Anyway, it's not funny, but it's like everywhere you turn, every day, there's some huge data breach or...
Well, I tell you what, as I'm thinking about this, I had not heard about this. We don't have a smart TV. We just use our...
Your dumb one?
No, we don't have a dumb TV either.
It's got a tube in it.
Well, listen, y'all go ahead and laugh. That's what I had. Nobody be...
We didn't hack those, Sonny.
No, we just used our little tablets, and I watch what I want. Diane watches what she watches. But anyway, what I was going to say, as I'm thinking about this, I all the time, if I get on my phone and go to Fox to check on a story, a little, or even on my iPad, a little pop-up comes up, and it says, do you want to cast to your television? So if there's a video playing, you can put it on your TV. So I'm wondering if it can do the opposite. If these TVs affected with malware can access your phone or your tablet and retrieve information that's stored there, or if it's simply the TVs used to spy on the people, because it probably has a little camera on it. You know, are they just checking out to see what you've got?
Be careful walking around your house.
It really is insane.
Good night, everybody. Sleep tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here you are. I thought you were going to bring us a happy story.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to. I was searching for one. Hey, let me search for happy story real quick. Okay.
I can give you one in the meantime.
Pops up. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
While Tim's looking for happy story.
I just typed in on Brave. I typed in happy news. See what comes up here. Good, inspiring, positive stories from
the Good News Network.
The Good News. The first thing that comes up is...
Oh, you clicked on it without checking.
I did. I may be infected with malware. Okay, so the story. Let's see. We got a good news story right here. Rural fishermen entrusted to manage pristine Caribbean shorelines to safeguard their fishing future. That's a good.
Does the fishermen get eaten by anything? That's the only reason I'm clicking.
Here's another good story. 17th century Dutch painting rescued from a dusty attic in Connecticut sells for $7 million.
That's not good
Why
news.
can't that end up in the attic of a house I buy? Oh, that's not good news to you.
You actually sent around a good news story.
Yeah, what did I send around?
It was the cancer story.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You have that?
I do. Let me dig it up off my phone.
Anyway.
Yes.
All right.
It wasn't important enough for Chris to have in his stack of stories.
We haven't even...
I got it here.
Oh, you got it. All right, go ahead.
All right, this is from Daily Mail Online, and the headline is Cancer Breakthrough as Doctors Unveil Way to Zap Tumors into Oblivion Without Chemo.
Yeah, that's almost here. That was a good news story I sent around because I found that and I thought
This is actually, I read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I read it.
You want to read any part of that?
Yeah.
Now, with the Daily Mail, which I look at in the evenings, they are a cowboy type news service.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of good hard news on there. They just use sensational headlines to get you to click on everything, and it works. It works. But that story caught my attention.
This says Texas researchers have devised a way to use infrared light as a jackhammer that can tear cancer cells apart from the inside, showing in trials to have eliminated melanomas, the deadliest form of skin cancer. A synthetic blue dye, often used in hospital imaging, naturally binds to cancer cells. Researchers found that when the cancer cells were zapped with infrared light, it triggered violent shaking that tore through the cancer cell's membrane, causing it to die without any heat or harsh drugs. But this says that it leaves healthy cells alone. It says it has a 99%, it's obviously just being tested, has a 99% efficiency against lab cultures of human skin cancer cells, and half of the mice with melanoma tumors became cancer-free after just one treatment. That's startling.
Yeah, we can put that on our Today's Issues Facebook page.
I got it on.
But I just found, I thought that, having a lot of our listeners have cancer themselves, or had a family member like I did with Allison, my wife, or they know, so everybody's touched by this. Fred experienced, he had to go through treatment for
my mother died of cancer.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But now the treatments today, while they've improved greatly, still a lot of them involve the chemotherapy, which
can be very rough.
Can be very rough. Chemo, it's short for chemicals.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, you have to I'm going to be coarse about this, but you have to poison your body to get rid of something worse.
Yeah, and you're hoping that your body
is able to take it,
outlasts the cancer.
Yeah, and the key there too is these new treatments can zero in on tumors and not affect the good cells.
Right.
Cells.
Right.
Quite often, in the past, broad chemotherapy, radiation, it killed a lot of the good cells.
Yeah.
And so the wonderful part about this, when I had prostate cancer, I've got proton treatment. And proton treatment, one of the best, it's the heavier component of the nucleus. And they're able to control the direction of the proton. And it narrows in on the cancer cells. And it's terrific. So we're living in, there's a lot of stuff going on in our day and age today that isn't good. But these advancements and treatments are terrific.
That's in trial. That was the trial results. So
right.
Who knows how long it'll take? You have to have trials, and then you have to be approved and everything. It just takes some time. But at least it's good to know that they've discovered this, That wasn't exclusive to melanoma, was it?
No, I think they just
that was no type of.
They named other cancers.
Yeah.
It can be used for.
I believe it's prostate cancer can be used for that.
So
this is really neat stuff.
Yeah.
This is just they put this blue dye in there, which attaches itself to the cancer cell, and then they basically take that area of your body and they shoot infrared light in there. And it's, I guess it's the type of light, the frequency, the radiation level, whatever the case may be, and it blows apart the cancer cell. So that's terrific.
Yeah, it says it has already shown in follow-up trials to kill colorectal cancer,
that's
prostate
colon cancer,
prostate cancer, and breast cancer cells.
Yeah.
So wide variety.
Big news.
That is big news, and as we promised, good news.
That's right. Amen. All right, you're listening to today's issues on American Family Radio. Thanks for listening. I'm Tim with Fred and Ed and Chris. What's your next story, Chris?
Well, this is just a bit of trivia as we end the end of this segment here.
As we end the world,
No.
I go out with a bang of trivia.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we're a little on edge here.
Famous moment on this day in history.
Okay.
1987, speaking about the Berlin Wall as he stood at the gate in Berlin, U.S. President Ronald Reagan famously entreated the Soviet leader with, quote, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall."
Yeah, that was, for some reason, I saw that within the last couple of months, saw that speech or part of it.
That was today in history?
It was.
Yeah, today in history was that speech.
87.
I remember the Berlin Wall coming down. I was like 8. I didn't really understand it. It was a big deal. But I wasn't even that old. It was like 6 or 7. But I don't remember this particular speech. But I've certainly grown up and heard it a lot. And I sometimes like bringing these up because you guys remember this, you lived through it, whatnot. What was
President Ronald Reagan, he gave that speech in Berlin, right?
Yes.
And was the wall the backdrop? I mean, was it? I think it was.
I think it was. I think he was on the.
Because he said tear down this wall.
Yeah.
And the Soviet Union did. I mean,
2 years later.
They either collapsed, and as some would say, Gorbachev, the leader of the Soviet Union at the time, was a willing participant. He helped end the.
Was it Glasnost?
Glasnost, yes. That was the like the cooling of tensions or something. It was a Russian word for something.
So that's this day in history. President Ronald Reagan. I just know I have fond memories of his 8 years in office. I know the left hated him like they hate President Trump. But
by the way, you recommended, and I did watch a couple of months ago, the movie Reagan with Dennis.
Yeah. I really recommend it.
That's good.
Really shows how he was determined to resist communism. And I don't know if a lot of people know this. There was a strong communist movement in this country while the Soviet Union existed.
Yes.
Now, people will recognize that Marxism is still alive and well and kicking on college and university campuses. But they had infiltrated, as it turns out, they had infiltrated the U.S. government and so on and so forth. But they were trying to take over Hollywood. And Reagan stood in the way of that.
Yep.
And you can imagine, as much as Hollywood uses propaganda now in their movies and television series, if they had captured Hollywood way back then, he is one of those individuals that I believe was used by God in a powerful way.
That movie is called Reagan, and it stars Dennis Quaid as Ronald Reagan. And all right, thanks for listening this hour. We shall take a break for news and be back with Steve Paisley Jordahl in just 5 minutes. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
90.5 KTXG, Bill, Dallas. For family-friendly entertainment or resources to strengthen your walk with God, there's one name you should remember: American Family Studios. We don't just want to bring you shows, movies, and specials that will entertain or build up your family. We're committed to honoring God by making them both biblically sound and of the highest quality possible. Check us out at AmericanFamilyStudios.net. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty P. The U.S. is pulling non-essential staff from embassies and bases across the Middle East. This move coming in response to heightened security concerns across the region. Trey Yeeks has more from Tel Aviv.
Reports overnight indicate the Israelis are preparing to strike Iranian nuclear sites as talks between the United States and Iran stall. Now, as a result, the Americans are partially evacuating the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. This is a precaution since it could be a target of any sort of Iranian response. The State Department has also authorized non-essential personnel and dependents of Americans serving in places like Bahrain and Kuwait to voluntarily leave. Here in Israel, the U.S. Embassy has restricted domestic travel for embassy staff and family members outside of major cities like Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Beersheba. The precautions are all a sign that the Americans are preparing for a deteriorating security situation.
An Air India passenger plane with more than 240 people on board crashed in the northwestern Indian city of Ahmedabad, and officials say there are no known survivors. Visuals showed smoke billowing from the crash site near the airport. Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 787, crashed shortly after lifting off. The House Oversight Committee hearing testimony from the governors of 3 Democrat states about their sanctuary cities. Committee member and Republican Congressman Jim Jordan calling sanctuary laws stupid and says they plan to put these policies on trial.
It says that local law enforcement in sanctuary jurisdictions will not work with federal law enforcement officials when they're enforcing federal law. That is just stupid, but that is the policy that these left-wing jurisdictions have, whether it's a city or in today's situation, whether it's 3 states.
President Trump will sign 3 measures today, overturning California's electric vehicle mandates. Grady Trimble has more.
One of the regulations aims to phase out big diesel trucks. Another seeks to cut tailpipe emissions from trucks. And the third one is the big one. It's a rule that would end the sale of gas-powered cars in California by 2035. Today, the president will sign resolutions, which Congress passed last month, that block California from having stricter rules than the federal government does. California Governor Gavin Newsom has vowed to fight the Trump administration on this, and Democrats in Congress are attacking Republicans for passing the measure in the first place.
Statistics are revealing more people are neglecting regular doctor visits, but one doctor is encouraging people to make these visits a priority. Reed Ritter has more.
Speaking on Fox News Channel, Dr. Mike Varshavsky discussed the importance he believes people should be placing upon regular doctor visits so as to prevent potential health problems.
I think everyone needs to establish with a primary care physician. A lot of us like to put that off, rely on urgent care in lieu of true primary care. But then you're not actually developing a relationship with your doctor. You're not preventing problems. You're only becoming reactive to them. And I think an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I'd much rather prevent a heart attack than treat one when it already happens. So get a good family medicine doctor.
He went on to explain that while going to the doctor for a checkup can be an inconvenience, it can also help patients lower their risk of developing cancer.
When we think about prevention, it's not just thinking about taking a medication. That could be the case, but there's also mental health screenings, domestic violence screenings, colon cancer prevention, cervical cancer prevention. There are ways to actually prevent cancers from happening that are completely under our control.
Dr. Mike also discussed the danger of high blood pressure, and he explained how going to the doctor can help people stay away from the potentially deadly effects of high blood pressure.
You know what's scary about blood pressure is you don't feel when you have an elevated blood pressure. And if you have that all the time when you're at rest, that predisposes you to having higher rates of heart attacks, strokes. These are life-altering decisions. And it's not just about extending the length of your life. It's also improving the quality of your life.
I'm Reed Ritter.
And finally, U.S. filings for jobless benefits were unchanged last week. New applications for jobless benefits numbered 248,000 for the week ending June 7th. Analysts had forecast 244,000 new applications. A week ago, there were 248,000 jobless claim applications. More news online at afn.net and on the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
AFA Action takes attacks on the family seriously. The enemies of the family constantly employ new tactics to try to sneak past our radar. They know if we stand together, their evil plans will fail. Your gift to AFA Action allows us to stay vigilant against their onslaught. And if you give this month, you'll receive access to the Cultural Institute video, When Your Faith is Illegal, by Frank Harbor on AFA Stream as our thanks. You can make your gift today at afaaction.net.
When you hear the letters AFR, there are a lot of things that could come to mind. Automotive Finders Resource, Alligator Frying Research, or the Association of Flying Rednecks. All great organizations, no doubt, But we hope the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear AFR is American Family Radio, a listener-supported network dedicated to sharing the gospel and promoting godly values.
God expects maturity in us. We should not be comfortable living with habitual sins.
So that's a news cycle item. Is it the top news story, Doc? No, because he worries about all of this.
Now, I don't care how nice you think you are. If you're not telling someone the truth, you're not being loving to them.
Make no mistake, we're not anglers from Red Bay, but we are AFR, American Family Radio, and we're happy you're listening.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildman, president of the American Family Association.
Welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Thanks for listening to AFR. We just met some great listeners who are in town. By in town, I mean here in Tupelo, MS.
The Activate Summit.
Yeah, I met some Roy and Chelsea from Arkansas, Jerry and Brandy and they got 7 kids.
They were activated, believe me.
Yes, they're from Georgia. And they brought the whole fam.
Yeah.
And then Troy and Kristen from Illinois, from the Carbondale area. And Richard and Susan from Georgia as well. Just met those folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned this morning there's a family from Oregon.
Yeah.
Drove across the country.
Yeah, they flew.
Yeah.
Yeah, they flew in from Oregon, and boy, their arms tired.
Oh, man. Henny Youngman.
You hadn't heard that one in a while.
That's a Henny Youngman joke.
Is that who said that?
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, yeah, we've got folks from all over the country in town for the Activate Conference here at American Family Association, AFR headquarters. Town, the community. We're not hosting that here at our building, but some folks are touring our building.
Yeah.
Our studios. Steve Paisley Jordan joins us now. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. I met that family with 7 kids.
Yeah.
The replacement rate in this country is 2.1, right? I had 2. So I told them, and I'm claiming this, you guys can't have it. I am claiming 1/10 of one of their kids so that so they don't need 7.
Okay. Good luck with that.
No, I'm just.
Who are you claiming it with?
The world.
He's trying to get some kind of tax advantage or something.
Them with them. Yeah.
Them they. All right. Hey, let me mention real quickly that our Holy Land tour in March of 2026, that will be before World War III. So, hey, and if we're over in the Holy Land and World War III happens, what better place to go out?
Yeah, there you go.
So the
distance to heaven is shorter.
That's what I'm saying. It's in New Jerusalem right there real close by. So, now we're going to Israel to see the land of the Bible, to see where Jesus walked and taught. It's going to be a wonderful experience. Next March, we've been doing this for 27, 28 years, something like that. And we're going back again. And we'd love for you to come with us. We've got like 40 people signed up right now. So we have room for like 100.
Total?
Yeah. 100, 110 right in there. So we're, whatever that is, 30, 40% filled up. So that's in March 2026. So if you want to read all about it and see the cost, the itinerary, everything, and by the way, Dr. Alex McFarland, who's going to be joining us momentarily, he's going with us. With Brother Bert Harper. So the Exploring the Word guys are going with us on this Holy Land tour in March of 2026. So here's the website to read all about it. Go to wildmongroup.com. Wildmon, not man, wildmongroup.com. And you can read all about the
Alex and Bert going. That's going to fill it up when folks hear about that.
Well, that's why I'm saying it right now. But you don't want to get. We don't want to. We'll fill up probably by September.
Yeah.
At the rate
for the March
trip. The March tour. So I'm just telling you, we're headed in that direction. So if you want to go to Israel with us and Bert and Alex and